G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. My name is Steve Smith, and I'm your host, and it's time for another segment, and an exciting segment, of Dint Golf Solutions Walking the Fairways. Now, by now, you know Dint Golf Solutions are a wonderful partner of Walking the Fairways, and it allows us to talk about some of the things that they have available for you to look after your golf courses better. And now it's getting into that time. We're just cracking the warmer time of the season. We're on the verge of spring coming along. Technically not too far away now, only a matter of days, and it's time to make sure you've got the tines you need for renovating your turf surfaces. Make sure you're ready to go with the right tines for the right job. Now, Dint Golf Solutions have the latest Dynamite Hollow tines available right now for you. They've also got their wide range of other tines, including the sensational Connie Spoon tapered tines and also the long life tiny tines, sourced from KBV efforts out of Hamburg in Germany, so you know they're some of the best tines going around, made from some of the best metal available. The Dint team are ready to supply you with the right tines you need for your renovations, and like I mentioned, it is that time of the year. You can also effortlessly order straight through their fantastic website at your convenience. Don't stuff around, get ready and be prepared with the right tines for your renovations through Dint Golf Solutions. Make sure you check out their website at dint.com.au, that's dint.com.au, and that's where you can browse through all of the products they have available and have a good look into the detail. They have so many tines there on their website that are available for you to buy to suit your needs specifically. You can look at all the details. They've got all the diameters, they've got the length of tines, they've got the sizes that they fit to on your machine mounts. Everything's there. You get a good look at them. Everything has a photo. So go and find out what you need at dint.com.au, and the team have you covered for your renovations, no matter what part of your golf course that you're ready to renovate. It's time to get comfy. This is episode number 206. Now we begin walking the fairways with a little update of the weather. Now I know I mentioned last time that El Niño had officially been triggered according to the Australian Bureau of Meteorology. So it could well mean drier than average times for the east coast of Australia, which I detailed to you not so long ago at all. Well, with that in mind, as you may recall, I said that it often trends with wetter than average times for the west coast of Australia. That's often the trend. Now, it may well be unrelated to El Niño, but Western Australia and South Australia have just seen some serious rainfall events over the past couple of weeks, with lots of the arid areas in those regions of Australia from sort of central Australia and west towards the western coast. Some of those areas have been inundated, even pushing into western New South Wales across the South Australia-New South Wales border. There's had so much rain that lots of regional roads have been flooded and closed off. And once those areas get wet, especially in far western New South Wales near the South Australian border, we're talking around Broken Hill, that sort of stuff, Menindee and so on, some of those areas, and even north as you move up towards Tibooburra, those regions will be cut off completely. Now, yes, there's not a lot of golf in those areas, there's no doubt about it, not a lot of golf courses, but when we're talking about the overall trends of the weather, it's important to follow the detail. So, and how things are sort of looking and understanding some of those trends, because it's going to affect the areas ultimately where we have a lot more golf. So around the fringes of the country, of the continent itself. So I've been keeping an eye on things, but that's what's been happening, and there's been some record rainfalls set in South Australia for August, which is so good to see, and there may well be more to come as winter comes to a close over the next week or so. We're keeping an eye on everything, but this could be the beginnings of a turn, or it's a last roll of the dice, whichever way you're looking at it. Not really sure, but as I mentioned, El Niño has officially been triggered, and I, for one, am slightly concerned that the 5 years that we've had of significantly above average rainfall for the east coast of Australia, I still firmly am in the belief that it's going to turn, whether it be this year or next year, but the wheel is slowly turning in my head. So I'm just throwing it out there. I could be completely wrong, but I think the pendulum is about to swing the other way. Ladies and gentlemen, part of Walking the Fairways on the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast is we get insight from lots of places around Australia and New Zealand. And again, we're going deep inside a golf course where I've got joining us on the line from Rich River Golf Club down along the Murray River on the New South Wales-Victorian border is Superintendent of Rich River, Jarrod Castle. G'day, Jarrod. How are you?
Good, Steve. How are you going?
Very well, thank you, mate. And look, I've got to say thank you because this information you tapped me on the shoulder down at the country conference down there along the Murray at Yarrawonga and said, Steve, we've got some work and we'd like to share some of the news that's going on. Now, this is significant, mate. I'm glad you have tapped me on the shoulder and I'm glad you've agreed to come on the podcast. Yep. So, mate, give us a bit of an idea of Rich River itself. It's 2 courses, I believe. You're near Echuca. Give us a bit of a rundown of where you are, what you are, and then we'll talk about what's going on.
Yeah, so you're right. Echuca Moama's the border towns, so we're on the Moama side of the river, so New South Wales. 36-hole golf course complex with a few other added areas. We've got bowling greens and croquet courts and tennis courts as well. So
you guys do it big.
There's a bit to get around. Big. Yeah. So it's a big facility. It's sort of a bit of a sporting or a community sort of hub, I suppose, for the community. So, high visitation and all that sort of stuff. Echuca is very high for tourism and things like that. So we do get a lot of people up through the place. We do in the vicinity of 130,000 rounds across the facility each year. So it's a busy place,
Busy's an understatement, mate. It staggers me, the Murray River region for golf, and I love learning about it along the way, mate. So it's great to hear that it's certainly a club that's doing well and lots of people moving through and enjoying golf and all the other facilities that are there.
Yeah, that's right. Like we've got over 100 bowls members and similar with the croquet as well. So, they're the other areas that we've sort of got to keep an eye on as well, which is challenging, I suppose.
Unreal, mate. And what are the names of it? Do your courses have names or the directional names? What do you got?
The east and the west.
Okay, east and west, right.
And that's basically the west course is on the west side of the property and the east on the east. So so the west course was the first course that opened, and that was back in the late 70s, I think it might have been 79, when they opened the West Course, and that was a Parslow design, so Ted and Jeff Parslow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so they did that, and then about 10 years later, so late 80s, they built the East Course as well, so Ted and Jeff did that as well.
There you go.
We're nearly been on this site for almost 50 years. So that originated in Echuca. There was a Echuca Golf Club, and that course it's still there. The back nine's still there. It's located on the Campaspe River, not on the Murray, and it used to keep getting flooded. In the early 70s, it went under a couple consecutive years, I think it was, and they decided that they needed to relocate. So that Echuca Golf Course is still there. It's the back, only 9 holes left. They call it the back nine, and that's the back nine. That's the original course, and there's houses around the rest of it. So.
Yeah, wow, there you go. So your site, are you above the flood line? Is that was that the original goal? Because sometimes, there are courses along there that do still go under in parts.
Yeah, I think Burjo and Yarrawongas might be battling that a little bit at the moment. We're set back a little bit and higher ground, and I guess when they decided that they were going to move, they probably needed to find somewhere that wasn't going to flood.
Yep, sure.
And even so we had big floods come through here in 2022, and we were fine.
Okay, well, that's about as big as it gets. Okay. Well, that's great. So 2 golf courses that people could play all the time in a great site that's above the flood level and very well patronised by 130,000. Staggering numbers, I reckon, in my world. So, mate, fantastic to see. Fantastic. Now, part of this, mate, you wanting to share with us what's going on, you've got Architects Harrison Golf involved. And, mate, if you could please explain and let us know exactly to what extent you guys are doing there as part of the work on the golf course for the future.
Yep. So the issue that came to us was we've got a lot of couch grass that's invaded the existing bent grass greens.
Okay.
And so not only encroachment from the edges of the greens, which we all battle that, we've got patches in the middles of greens that are quite large.
That's hard work, right? Because
It
you
is.
can't really do much other than just keep suppressing, but you're never going to solve it, are you?
That's right. And, you hear stories of guys saying they've got, patches the size of dinner plates. Well, we've got patches the size of dinner tables.
Yeah, right.
Like
Wow,
in the centres of greens. So, yeah. And that's sort of evolved over a number of years from, we get a lot of Corella bird damage here.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And what sort of happened over the journey, it's no one's fault at all. If you get a bit of bird damage on the green, the quickest way to fix it's to grab a plug from the edge, and to some untrained eyes or half-trained eyes, you're introducing cooch in, and then it just takes off from there. So,
and that wouldn't be hard to have that, even if you got an area on the surface that hasn't got cooch. There's going to be stolons running
underneath,
through potentially deep down that you haven't seen yet, right?
Yep, and it just the snowballs from there.
Yeah, wow, okay.
So that's sort of how we've ended up in the position we're at. And look, I've been here 5 years, and it's something that, identified when I first started, how we're going to tackle it. And about probably 2.5 years ago, we went down the path of some selective herbicide applications to see if we couldn't get some form of control over it, and that didn't really do much for us.
Okay.
About 18 months ago, the club really started to look at, what are we going to do long term here to eliminate it.
Yep.
So we went down a few different sort of paths with how we could work around that. One of them was the obvious: you sort of patch it out, dig it all out, and patch it out. The issues that you have with that is, you do it all and you might not quite get it all, and then 2 or 3 years later you're back doing the same areas again, and whether that's going to be achievable. We're operating Pencross bentgrass, which is a very old variety on these old greens, and that's getting harder and harder to get seed for that. So when you're talking about building nurseries so that you can do this process, is that going to be viable long term? So we went around and around in circles with that process and arrived at that wasn't going to be the answer.
Okay.
So then the next step was, well, do we just dig the top 200 mil out of all the greens and replace the sand and reseed? So we sort of went down that path for a little bit, but quickly found out we couldn't source the same sand that these old greens were built out of.
Oh, right. So not just the potential seed putting surface turf issue, you've also got challenges of the actual profile as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, well, how do you blend a different soil with the existing, the existing soil needs a deeper depth for that USGA profile versus the new sand that we're using. So we're just running into sort of dead ends everywhere we were looking. So then, we arrived at the process of, let's just shell the whole things out down to the drainage layer and essentially start again.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
the process of getting the architects of Harrison Golf involved, what was that like from the club perspective?
Yeah, so I'll probably jump around a bit here.
That's okay.
We're starting on the East Coast, so those greens were built. They're newer greens than the West. The reason we're starting there, they're already sitting on USGA profiles.
Okay.
So that was going to be an easy sort of kill for us, so to speak.
Yep.
Whereas the West Coast greens are a complete rebuild. They're old push-up style greens,
right,
so they're a complete redo.
Much different. Yep.
Yeah, no bunker work's been done on those holes over the last few years either. We've done quite a bit out on the east. So, we decided we'd start on the east course initially, but we'd need an additional spare hole.
Okay.
So that's when we sort of went down the path of, well, we need to get an architect in to hold our hand with that one.
Sure. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, we've already got a 9th hole, luckily, which was implemented before my time, and that was put in to help facilitate an irrigation replacement. Okay. So that was, I sort of came on board just after the irrigation had kicked off and took the reins with that one. But we had this 19th hole already, which actually worked quite well. It's situated between the two golf courses and it can be utilised for either of the courses. So that works quite well, but that's only one spare hole. The club are keen to do 2 greens at a time, and they don't want to go down the path of doing temporary type greens in front of the greens. So, we identified we needed to build another 19th hole, which long-term's a good thing. It's not going to be a temporary hole. It's going to be genuine golf hole that we can utilise,
Yep.
long term for various things. So, so then we got Harrison Golf on board to help design that, which they've done, and that works have actually kicked off this week as well.
Yeah, wow. Okay,
there. So it's all happening.
It is all happening, and these are genuine investments in not just now and not just for this project, but long term as well, right?
Yeah.
You talk about that another spare hole gives you flexibility because you don't know what things may turn in another 20 years' time or 10 years' time even.
That's right.
You might need some irrigation works or who knows what might come up.
And the thing for us also is because it's so busy here, if we want to do some minor stuff on a hole, it's really difficult to do when you've got that volume of golf coming through.
Yep, for sure.
You don't have, we can be any typical day here in the middle of summer. Once it comes 9 o'clock, the courses are full.
Yeah, right.
There's no spare hole, empty holes out there. So
courses. Most people are struggling with one course. We got both. That's unreal.
Yeah.
That's
we'll have 550 here on a Saturday in summer.
No
way. On the facility. Yeah.
Wow.
We're trying to get all your members through and a full course of social. Yeah.
Far out. That is unbelievable. I just I don't know what it was like pre-COVID for you guys, but my brain stops when I lost my job in 2013, right? So I've got this thing in my head where golf was sort of just bumbling along, and it wasn't huge numbers, and clubs weren't all making lots of money and doing really well. And now the stories of clubs, not being able to fit the amount of golfers on their facilities, where they've got one or two courses, is just so good to hear, right? This is amazing. I love hearing it.
Yeah, we've just got to a point at the club where they've actually capped the full 7-day membership, which that's obviously never been the case. They've actually got a waiting list, which is unheard of for up here.
That is mind-boggling. So you're going back to that, and in terms of the flexibility that you have, you can rest areas of the course. You can do significant surface renovations on some holes and allow genuine play without temporary greens and all that sort of stuff. You just shut a hole down and go, you know what, we're going to do work on this for a few days. To allow us to do some, might be scarifying or aeration, whatever it might be, but it gives you that genuine flexibility without upsetting any players.
Yeah, and your productivity doesn't drop at all when you can have that hole out of play. You're not spending half your time watching golf come through. Yeah.
Yep. No, very, very, very impressive and great to hear.
Yeah, so that was sort of how it sort of kicked off with Harrison Golf, and by the time we get to the West Course, we need them anyway because the complete green complex is getting completely redone. So, so they're with us initially, but they won't be doing a great deal just yet until we get onto that West Course. But still holding our hand with these shelling out of the East Greens, and we'll do some minor modifications to the contours on them as well.
Okay. Yep.
So just getting them to sort of hold our or guide us through those areas as well.
And it gets them a good understanding of the golf courses and the way that they can get the most out of it. It gives a good relationship, a working relationship on things as well. How you work with them and they work with. There's lots of benefits to this, even though they're not. It's not a massive project right now in terms of architecture, blowing it up and starting again. But you're getting a lot out of it, both sides, and also it's going to bode well for the golf course in itself. You get more adjustments to contours and the little details that they can pass through on their on what they do every day for a living, as I like to say.
And as you would imagine with the contours, that when these were built in the 80s, we weren't having greens running at 12 foot.
Yeah.
So we've lost a lot of pinnable spots due to green speeds, so to be able to soften some areas as well.
That's a genuine thing, right? People underestimate how times have changed in, I'm going to say 15 years, right? Even when I last was on a course preparing for golf, the way that you can bring speeds up quite easily now through knowledge, through equipment, through all the practices that we've learnt to do better and can do better. That's a genuine thing that's changed on, you might have lost 40% of your pinnable areas. On golf greens across the board, easily. Yep,
that's right. And 12 feet on a green is just so easy to achieve.
Yep.
You do it without even trying. Yeah,
it's scary, and it's something that you go from players or golfers having a bit of a I don't like to use the word whinge, but raising concerns about hole locations and, that was too steep, it shouldn't be. You get to eliminate all those things by doing it properly, understanding what's pinnable at those particular speeds that you're able to achieve. Now, and I love talking about green speeds because it is a genuine change in the way that golf is played and prepared. And green speeds above 10, if we're going to, using numbers as the reference on the stimp meter, have also become the norm for golfers. If I see golfers going to play some courses that might have 2 staff and regionally on some golf courses, and they go, geez, they're so slow. And I go, you know what? But they're not actually, like I said, my head stops at 2013, right? So I've got this reference point when I play those courses. I go, this is what this is pretty good. And, 12 is like lightning. And they're like, 12's normal. 11's normal. And I'm like, geez, we have come a long way in a short space of time.
You can do that without even trying. I know. Yeah.
It's unreal. It's a thing. So, mate, that's great. So you mentioned the second green and the spare hole is what's being done at the moment.
That's what we're doing at the moment. And then we're sort of just trying to identify what the next 2 will be that we get to. And that'll be kicking off in around probably mid-February, I reckon. And we'll do the next 2. So we're basically aiming at doing 4 greens a season.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Have we got an overall, I'm sure you do, are you allowed to talk about the overall time frame of what you hope this project in its entirety to be moving along at?
Yeah, so we're aiming for 4 greens a season, which that sees the East Course completed in 2030.
Okay, yep.
And then, heading to the West Course from there. So that doesn't account for any practice greens or anything like that.
Sure.
And we're looking at a similar time frame on the West Course. It's probably a 4-year process out there, and then you add your practice greens onto the end of it as well. So, it's a 10-year project for us, essentially.
Yeah, and it's 2 golf courses, but I go back to this is a genuine investment by the golf club and understanding what they want to provide and how they want to improve over time. In 10 years' time, you're going to be looking at essentially 2 young golf courses that people will be able to enjoy and see in a different way, and it's a turning of the page of sorts for Rich River.
It is. It's complete new surface, which allows us, modern technology and things like that to help keep cooch out and ensure that doesn't happen again. We're setting the place up for the next 50, 60, 70 years, really.
Absolutely. Now, can I ask what your grass surfaces are going to be? What are you seeding with?
Yeah, so we've chosen 007 bent grass.
Okay. Yep.
We've done a little bit of trial work, probably not as much as some would do. We've actually got 3 pure distinction greens already on the property through a few other jobs that were done previously. So we've got a bit of an understanding of the pure distinction, but we've decided to go with 007. We've got a chipping green that we sowed with 007 last year, and that's performed really well.
There you go.
We haven't done any trial work on site other than that.
Yep.
I've done a bit of a tour of WA and looked at some of the bent grass varieties over there, which is a similar climate to what we're dealing with.
Yeah, very.
Ultimately arrived at 007 as our choice. So looking forward to seeing how that sort of matures and how we go with it all.
Sensational, mate. Great to hear. Now, mate, if I can, you mentioned to me moving away from the course. The club is investing in accommodation. Tell us a bit about the size of this one as well, because I mentioned to everyone, if you haven't heard of Rich River before, now you will, and it's on your map to go and start to have a look at it and see and go and enjoy it. So, mate, tell us what's happening here.
So there's another. It was nearly done. It's another 23-room motel.
Wow.
It's called Reflections. So it's a standalone area from our existing motel. So we've got 64 rooms on our existing motel.
Right.
So this is another 23 rooms, which is basically being built to overlook the East Course. So it's a 3-story setup, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's some pretty good views from the top floor.
Yeah, I can imagine. You'd see across the entire property from there almost,
yeah,
wouldn't you?
You do. It's pretty cool. And it almost with the East Course, it's kind of a little bit disconnected from the club a little bit, in that the clubhouse is situated to face the West Course.
Okay.
And the East Course is sort of just out the back. What this new motel does, it actually frames a bit across the East Course, and it actually provides a bit more connection with the
Yeah.
2 courses. So,
Right.
so it's pretty cool.
That's
They've
unreal.
got that happening. That'll be open in October. They're just doing the car park works on it at the moment. So we've done a fair bit of landscaping and stuff in through there recently to get that up to scratch. But yeah, so that opens soon, and that's going to that'll bring a lot of extra money and people to the club as well.
I mean, that's incredibly exciting, and also at the right time for the summer season, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like I was saying before, Echuca Moama is such a tourism spot, even for non-golfers. So
Yes.
they're going to have no problem filling it with people, regardless
Just
of
in
whether they're
general.
playing golf. Yeah. So
Wow.
handy problem to have. They've completed or nearly completed that. And we've also got a new housing estate that's that was done.
I can't believe it. This is unbelievable.
Yeah. So we've got a 51 block housing estate, which is in the confines of the golf course.
Wow.
So that's there's houses still getting built on at the moment.
So you can buy and live literally on the course.
On the golf course, yeah.
Wow.
So so we had there's a bit of our involvement in that. We had to shift pump sheds and all sorts of stuff, which wasn't fun, but we got there in the end. Yeah,
that's an incredible amount of work that you've completed thus far. Is ongoing, and the planning for the next, like you said, 10 years investment. It's staggering. So good to hear. And I was blown away by Yarrawonga, but to hear stories of their other clubs along the river, exactly why we've got you on here to talk about Rich River, is phenomenal. For those of us who've never been, I don't know the golf very well along the Murray River, and I keep saying that, and I love to learn about it and share it because it is a golf destination. We've heard about it, but once you see it, if you've not, kid you not, everyone listening here, these are high-level, high-quality golf clubs and resorts and accommodation, and the golf course quality is exceptionally good as anything you'll find in a capital city. It really does shine so brightly. Probably one that we don't talk away as a country regional golf destination. It is amazing. It is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, it is. It's pretty cool. And that's sort of one of the things that attracted me to the job early days. Yeah, there's a lot happening here. There's a lot in the pipe work. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Jarrod, it's been great to have you on. Now, mate, if you can, I'd love to be able to include this, being that it's such a long project, as, move through every, whatever, I'll give you a yell and we'll see if we can get you on the pod to give us an update on how things are performing. Mate, if you can share with me some of the stuff I can share on socials as well, some videos and things as things go along, because I think it'd be great to keep people involved. And this really is a big one for any golf club, let alone a club like Rich River that's away from the capital cities. The level of investment is outstanding, and it's fantastic to see and hear that a golf club like Rich River, is doing really well and getting so many people enjoying the golf facilities and all the sporting facilities that are there at Rich River, mate. It's fantastic to hear.
Yep. No, it's all good. It's pretty exciting,
Fantastic.
And daunting as well sometimes.
Well, and you know what? It's great stuff to experience on your part, but also the team, right? They're going to experience a lot
100%.
of things.
Yep, exactly.
One of the things I like sharing. Jarrod Castle, Superintendent of Rich River Golf Club at Echuca Moama. Mate, thank you so much for jumping on, walking the fairways and sharing all of this info with us. It's outstanding.
Not a problem. Thanks, Steve.
Now, from the southern reaches of New South Wales, we're going to head back up north of Sydney, and we're going to Newcastle Golf Club, where, the golf course is being redesigned. The work completed on course has been epic. Now, I've seen some images of the new 15th hole that's been completed, or more or less completed, and the early call from me is it's going to be one of my favourites. It's growing in well, and Superintendent Earl Warmington and his team are really doing an amazing job growing everything in through this winter period. Now, on the new 11th hole, which was previously the 4th hole, you may recall that was a par 4, but it had a group of about 8 round circular, very, very circular round bunkers on the right-hand side about halfway along. They've essentially been blown up by designers Bob Harrison and Scott Champion from Harrison Golf, and the new bunker complex is absolutely outstanding. Now, have a look at my socials, because I will be sharing some photos very soon of these new bunkers, and they absolutely look unreal. It's a fantastic bunker complex for a fairway bunker complex, I've got to tell you. Now, more greens have been seeded and fairways have been turfed. The turf going down on the fairways and surrounds has been harvested from the site and reused. So they're taking it from the holes that have been basically lost for the development that's along the main road that flanks the western part of the golf course boundary, and they're using that turf on the new fairways and the new areas that are being built at the moment. So it's great to see this use of turf and recycling as well. But what it does is it means that the golf course can retain the local cooch and that local feel that has grown on the site for the past essentially 100 years, and it's going to retain the feel of Newcastle Golf Club. To say it's Newcastle Golf Club cooch is probably the right term. I've spoken with Earl in the past, and he says that their cooch has its own characteristics that differ slightly from other common cooches you'll come across. So it's a detail of Newcastle Golf Club that they've kept and that they've gone out of their way to keep, and it's great to see. So also when they're remodeling some of the fairways that are existing on some of the holes that they're retaining with the new works here, they'll strip the surface first as well. So it's a great reuse of the fairways turf surfaces and keeping this particular cooch that they have on site that's very special to Newcastle, and it is very unique to Newcastle Golf Club. So it's great to see, and well done to everyone on course. We know that they're pushing hard, and we've got regular updates through the design brief as well, which you'll hear about some of the work that's happening as things move through the project at Newcastle Golf Club too. Now, not too far from Newcastle, we're going to head a little bit further north and slightly east, and we're going to Nelson Bay Golf Club, and they are smack bang in the middle of rebuilding their 16th green complex. Now, the 16th hole is about a 365-metre dogleg left par 4, and they've essentially blown up the green site there and are completely starting again with this one. Craig Parry is doing the design work at Nelson Bay Golf Club. They also plan to remove the fairway bunkers on the outside of the dogleg, so they're getting a whole new green complex. Now, I've seen the master plan for the golf course, and from what I gather, the new green complex doesn't have any new bunkers around it. It's a bunkerless green complex, but that adds to the fairway itself losing the fairway bunkers that they had on the outside of the dogleg, as I mentioned. So it's going to be a bunker-free hole is what you're going to see at Nelson Bay Golf Club. Not much more that I can say from this because I haven't seen much except for the green site that's been dug up altogether. But it's great to see some of these regional golf courses doing significant upgrades to their respective courses. And we're in a bit of a golf boom. So what you're seeing are the results of so many more people heading out and playing golf, and it's allowing the clubs to reinvest in their golf courses and in some instances in their golf clubs as well. But this is a level that we've not seen before. So we're 6 years post-COVID essentially, or 5 years post-COVID, and we're seeing the results of what the clubs are now doing at their respective courses, and it's very, very good to see. And many of them are regional courses, as you've already heard about Rich River. We're hearing about Nelson Bay as well, and I've got one more here for you that's a regional one that I'm about to jump to, and that is the regional golf course of Oberon Golf Club, which is on the western edge of the Blue Mountains, and it's about 3.5 hours drive west of Sydney. Now, Oberon Golf Club is the highest 18-hole golf course in Australia by way of elevation, with the clubhouse itself sitting at about 1,125 metres above sea level. That's nearly 100 metres higher in elevation than Blackheath Golf Club in the Blue Mountains, which is the second highest 18-hole golf course in Australia by way of elevation. So give you a bit of an idea of where they sit. Now, Oberon have begun rebuilding their 16th green. They've dug it up and are starting again from scratch. 16 was a bit of a problem green for Oberon. It was one of their smallest greens on the golf course, but mostly its biggest issue was that it was too steep in its overall grade, mainly being as a result of its age combined with green speed increases in modern greenkeeping and modern expectations from golfers, which means very few reasonable hole locations. And look, Oberon is a relatively small regional golf club. It's in an amazing location on the banks of Lake Oberon, which is part of the drinking water supply for the Blue Mountains. The golf course is on pretty steep ground. It's on a pretty steep piece of ground indeed, but it's quite spectacular. The highest part of the golf course is the second tee, and I want to make mention of this because it's a really unique part of the golf course. The highest part's a second tee, which is at about 1,139 metres above sea level, and the lowest part of the golf course along the banks of the lake itself sit at the fifth tee, which is about 1,072 metres. So there's about a 67 metre height difference between the highest and the lowest points of the golf course. But there's one stat which is even better still, and that's the second hole itself, which, as far as I'm aware, may just be the highest or the biggest difference in elevation from tee to green in Australia. You see, the second hole is a 360-odd metre par 4 downhill, and from the tee to the green, the hole drops around 45 metres thereabouts. And these meterages of elevation I've worked out using Google Earth, so they're not 100% accurate, but they're reasonably close from what I gather. Now, 45 metres from tee to green, that's a long way down. That'd be like teeing off the top of a 15-storey building and waiting for the ball to hit the deck at ground level. And the tee shot of the second at Oberon has some serious hang time. You've got time to hit it and look at your watch and then count how long it goes before it lands. It's unreal. Now, doing some quick research on the golf courses that I know of that have very high tee shots, and I've played most of these that I'm about to tell you, except a couple of them, I wanted to measure. So I've gone online onto Google Earth, and I wanted to measure just how far some of these holes that I've played drop from tee to green. Some of the ones that I know of that are significant. And I've ordered these by way of the elevation drop from tee to green. Starting off with one that came to mind was the par 3 fifth hole at Fairbairn Valley up in Queensland, just to the west of the Gold Coast. It's a very high tee shot it's a long hole, and it feels like there's some hang time, and you're looking down a long way to the green. Now, it's 23 metres, according to Google Earth. So high enough to notice a significant drop. It's about half the elevation drop of the second hole at Oberon. Then there was the par 5 fifth hole at New South Wales Golf Club. Now, admittedly, you go over a little rise, but take that rise out of it. From the tee to the green, you drop 24 metres. So it's a little bit of a bigger drop, only by a metre, than that of Coralbin, but still nowhere near the 45 of the second hole at Oberon. Then thinking about another great hole with a big drop that I've played is the par 4 17th at Tallwoods. And I measured it. It is a spectacular tee shot. You climb right up. There's about 4 tees. You climb right up this very, very steep hillside like you're a mountain goat. And you play down to the fairway. And from the fairway, it's just a gentle run downhill to the green. But from the tee to the green, overall, it says it's about 27 metres. Now, that one's got some serious hang time and is a big drop. But again, not even close to that of Oberon. Then I went to the par 4 12th hole at Cypress Lakes. Now we're starting to see some significant differences from tee to green. I love this hole. It's a roller coaster. It's a brutal hole from the back tees. And some people would say possibly unfair because it's very, very hard. And it's a mega, mega carry from the back tee to the fairway in general. And it's a big, big drop down to the green from that midway point of the hole anyway. So from tee to green, the 12th hole at Cypress drops 33 metres, so we're starting to see some numbers increase, but we're still not to the same as Oberon. The par 3 fifth hole, which is one that I haven't played at Northbridge Golf Club here in Sydney, but you might recall on a segment of Walking the Fairways, Superintendent Luke Diserens took me for a drive around the golf course, and we recorded a segment on there. Now, the fifth hole is just off the planet and blew my head apart when I was there. It's 34 metres, so slightly longer, a slightly bigger drop than the entire par 4 of Cypress. And this one's it's a short par 3. It's literally like playing off a cliff. It's got a big drop, but at 34 metres, it's still not the same as Oberon. So I'm giving you an idea of how far down this par 4 at Oberon drops. So Northbridge is a wild ride, but it's not as far as that at Oberon. Then we go to the par 3 16th hole at Arrowtown in WA near Perth. Now, I've heard about this one, so I had to go and find it, dig it up on Google Earth and measure the elevation drop. It's a par 3, like I mentioned. Now, it is the most at 38 metres, and it's a reasonably long par 3 from the back tees to the green. So that's the biggest drop that I could find of any golf course I know that comes to compete with that of Oberon, but I have not got one that reaches the ultimate tee to green elevation difference to the second hole at Oberon. So 45 metres is the yardstick, according to my calculations just using Google Earth, right? So the second hole at Oberon has a larger drop than any of these other ones that I can think of. And I've played most of them, as I mentioned, except those two, the Northbridge and Arrowtown. But I have seen Northbridge. Now, to put that into some perspective, for those of you who have travelled around and played a bit of golf, there's one that I know of that I haven't played and I haven't been to for golf at all, and that's over in New Zealand at Jack's Point. And I often see lots of people talk about Jack's Point. So I wasn't sure. I wanted to measure it, again, using Google Earth, to see where it sat. And they've got a couple of big holes with some elevation changes, being the par 4 6th hole and the par 3 7th hole. So I thought, I know this is a modern day one that people rave about because it looks spectacular with the lake behind it, the mountains in the distance. It really, you lose your senses because of that depth of field that is played with your eyes. And like I said, seeing videos and photos, I was like, wow, I've got to go and see what it's like because Jack's Point could well beat this drop at Oberon. Now, both of those holes from tee to green, the par 4 6th and the par 3 7th, they fall 20 metres each. So not quite as big as I was expecting. Significant nevertheless, but only less than half of that of the second hole at Oberon. So there you go. There's a bit of perspective. Now, like I mentioned, I just wanted to clear it up that I use Google Earth. It's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So there might be a little bit of detail in all of the ones that I mentioned that might not be perfect in terms of the elevation difference, but that was my yardstick using the same tool across all those golf courses. So I just wanted to let you know about that little detail. Now, I'm putting the shout out here because if anyone can think of a golf hole from tee to green that can rival that of the second hole at Oberon, I want you to let me know. So send me an email or flick me a message on social media, whatever works for you, and let me know, and I'll check it out, and then I'll give it a shout out next time I'm walking the fairways. So we've got the highest difference in elevation from tee to green playing downhill on a golf course in Australia. 45 metres, according to Google Earth, is that at Oberon, the second hole at Oberon Golf Club, on the far western edges of the Blue Mountains. So I'm curious. If you've got one, share it with me. Let me know and I'll look into it. But there you go. A little bit of work happening at Oberon with their 16th green was the crux of all that information. And great to see as well that they're doing work to improve their golf course. Now we're going to head into Sydney where I've got some news at Strathfield Golf Club. And their golf course maintenance team have built a new turf nursery with all the playing surfaces on the golf course, including bent grass, couch grass, and kikuyu grass, separate parts of this turf nursery. Now, the new turf nursery has been built just to the left of the 17th hole, along the boundary of the property away from play. This new nursery will bring the team confidence knowing that should they need it for repairs or any new work on the golf course, they can easily cut fresh new turf on site and lay it down straight away with minimal time delay and disruption to the surfaces that they work on. This is great stuff. And like I mentioned, all the different parts of the golf course, they've got bent, they've got couch, they've got kike. So all the different turf surfaces that cover up the different parts of the golf course there at Strathfield, they can just go to site where the nursery is, cut what they need, and then go and lay it down straight away. And then they can just regrow what they have over in their turf nursery. Very, very clever, very smart, and a great thing to be able to have available for you when you're doing work on a golf course. If you want to upgrade tees, if you want to upgrade and fix up bits of fairways, if you want to do some parts of surrounds or greens, remodeling some surface contours, for example, fixing up some problem areas that might have been damaged for whatever the reason might be, this is a great thing and allows for incredible flexibility. So well done to the team at Strathfield Golf Club for building this nursery and preparing themselves. So it just gives you confidence as a club knowing that you've got a very quick turnaround. You don't need to source anything from off-site from, say, a turf supplier, and they've got all the different turf surfaces. Very, very big tick from me, and well done to the team at Strathfield Golf Club in Sydney. Now we moved, ladies and gentlemen, into Queensland, and according to some recent news, I found a couple of news articles about this one, is Southport Golf Club And they're looking into building 2 multi-storey apartment buildings, partnering with a retirement living company. The images showing these buildings puts them on the current 13th hole at the tee area of the 13th, which is just on the eastern side of the driveway entrance, allowing for easy access off Slatyer Avenue, which for those of you who know the area, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the idea of this is based around the club saying that they want to make a significant capital investment to the golf course for the future. Apparently, the members will be voting on this in September. And look, in my opinion, if there's a model of sorts to look at when something like this has been done incredibly well for a golf club, certainly up at the Gold Coast region, you look no further than Burleigh Golf Club, where they put in a large retirement development down the right-hand side flank of their 10th hole along the boundary. And from my understanding, this has set the club up very, very well for the future indeed. And it's made a big difference to the golf club at Burleigh overall. So, look, interesting to see. I know Southport have been investing in their golf course quite a bit over the last couple of years, and lots of work's been done on the course. But I was surprised to hear that they were looking into this. It's not out of this world, I guess, really, to see that they're looking at something like this. I was a bit surprised because Southport's got a great name, and it's a private golf club, and one of the oldest private golf clubs, I believe, up there, if not the oldest, up there on the Gold Coast. Got a great history and a great name. So interesting to see that they're looking to go down this path. Like anything, it's just they'll make significant money from this if it gets the go ahead, and it will allow them to do whatever the hell they want. I can assure you of that. Lots of money comes off the back of something significant like this. So, yeah, look, interesting to see. One that I'll follow and keep you up to date on. I was surprised. So it piqued my interest, and I had to do a little bit of diving into it. But there you go. Looking at a couple of towers on the 13th hole, near the tee, on the tee area of the 13th hole, currently as it stands, of Southport Golf Club, and one to follow. We move from Queensland, we head down to the ACT. Now, I've mentioned this one before, Fairbairn Golf Club, which is next door to Canberra Airport, and they've been working hard on trying to secure the lease of their golf course because it's on military land, which the federal government is looking to offload in a number of areas around the country. But nevertheless, Fairbairn Golf Club have been busy rebuilding their practice area. Now, they're in the midst of constructing a brand new 1,100 square metre putting green. Now, that's a big putting green. But on top of that, they're also doing a new chipping green, new practice bunker, and 3 brand new practice nets all around their clubhouse precinct. This new work is on the north side of the clubhouse, between the clubhouse and the first tee. The work is part of their master plan for the clubhouse area, which was done by golf course architect Ben Davey from Contour Golf just last year. The new works are being done at the right time of the year, which is right now. They're not pushing the work to be done here at Fairbairn at the wrong time of the year just to get it done. So they're doing it now, which is at the back end of winter. I know some places have got to do stuff for timelines, and they're pushing with contractors, and they're pushing with things to just get done and get completed, and they'll deal with the grow-in. It could be the wrong time. It might be the peak of summer. It might be the peak of winter. But Fairbairn have done it at the right time, in my view, and that is at the back end of winter. So by the time everything's finished in terms of construction, it will be the end of winter into spring. So the work will be completed, the seed goes down, and things will start to kick off and grow perfectly to be open for play sometime in the coming season ahead. So great work done here by Fairbairn, and I've seen the master plan from Ben Davey from Contour Golf has done. There's some great changes, but this particular part around the clubhouse and the practice areas is fantastic to see, and they're moving through it. They're starting to kick some goals and make a real difference to their overall golf course, which is fantastic. And like I said, these aren't the big golf courses that move through these large projects. From time to time, we hear the big courses do big projects. They do the whole course. They do half the course over a couple of stages for over a handful of years. I've just mentioned to you so far, between New South Wales and now in the ACT here at Fairbairn, a number of smaller regional golf clubs. So this is, like I say, I go back to on the back of COVID, the influx of people playing golf now, we're seeing some great investment. So you're going to see over the next year or two, you're going to see a lot of regional golf clubs really upping their game. Now, I talk about it a lot. That's the whole point of walking the fairways, to keep you up to date with what's going on. But the scale of these works, as we're starting to see, that I've seen over the last 12 to 24 months, has got more significant and more significant. It's not just a tee here or a bunker there. There's lots happening. Some of these clubs have gone and got master plans. They're starting to move through them significantly. They're setting themselves up. We've just heard from Jarrod at Rich River. They're doing much more significant projects over a much longer period of time because they see that they now have an opportunity to do it. It's the old saying, there's no time like the present. And when you know you've got this influx of golfers, and in turn, that's dollars, let's not kid ourselves, it's fantastic to see these golf courses that for a long time probably haven't been able to do some significant upgrades, and now they're taking the opportunity to do so. So fantastic to see at Fairbairn. Congratulations to everyone involved, and I look forward to following their improvements on their golf course as well. Now we move south, ladies and gentlemen. We head into Tasmania for the final state of Australia. I've got a shout out to Superintendent Ben Stacey from Tasmania Golf Club itself, who sent me some info to update you all with what they've been up to on course at Tasmania, which is perched above Pittwater, where the Coal River flows into before heading out to Tiger Bay near the new 7 Mile Golf Course itself. Tasmania is in a unique spot, as I mentioned, perched on the cliffs, if you like, above Pittwater. You get this view north across the water. It's an incredible sight. And I say that without having seen it, because the amount of photos I've seen are just unbelievable. And the iconic par 5, which used to be the 3rd, is now the 12th. They've swapped the 9s around. As I keep saying, when I get to Hobart next, it's on my list to get to. So I'm coming, Ben. I'm making my way there when I get to Hobart next time. Now, Tasmania Golf Club have got their irrigation contractor in right now, and they're in the middle of upgrading 14 of their greens on course as part of stage 1 of their irrigation upgrade project. Now, 7 greens have been completed. They're halfway through this stage, and it's great to see. And I'll be honest with you when I say it, that I've been incredibly impressed with how much work Tasmania Golf Club have completed since I had Ben on Walking the Fairways in episode 126 last year. This golf course and golf club are going somewhere, so I'll say it again. If you're heading to Hobart for golf, Tasmania Golf Club is one you must put on your list to play when you're down there. Well done to Ben and his team on course and the club for their ongoing improvements to this wonderful golf course, and it's adding, again, it's upgrading and adding to a golf region that is in Hobart. We know what's going on with 7 Mile. We know that they're adding another golf course that's about to start soon, on top of the other golf courses that are around that part of Hobart, which is on the eastern side of Hobart City near the airport. I say it again, Royal Hobart, you've got Tasmania Golf Club, you've got the 9-holer of Lanherne, you've got 7 Mile. These golf courses are absolutely outstanding, and Tasmania is investing in their golf course heavily, and it's really starting to lift the game significantly so on what it already was. It already had a good name, and now it's taking it to another level. So fantastic and well done to see. And like I say, and I'll say it again, next time you go into Hobart for golf, make sure you put Tasmania Golf Club on your list to play. Now, one other project that is still slowly but surely moving down in Tasmania, in Hobart, and that is the Arm End Golf Course project. Well, the project at Arm End keeps on moving very slowly indeed, but it is moving, and that's the important part. Now, I hear that the project has been slowly ticking through the remaining few paperwork hurdles as they look to get final sign-off to be able to commence construction work building the golf course finally. This project, as many of you know, many of you Tasmanians and Hobartians know, it's taking so long, which invariably and unfortunately they do. Put 10 years on a new project before you can start to turn any ground. And if you're doing it inside 10 years, you're doing very well. 10 years is about the mark. And I've got a feeling that Arm End is around about that off the top of my head. Not since it's been talked about, but since it's been started. That is the project to get it to a golf course. So it's slowly happening and they're still moving. But the flicker of the light at the end of the proverbial tunnel is getting a touch closer, I believe. As you know, The new recycled water pipeline from the treatment plant from Blackman's Bay across the River Derwent reached the front gate of the property at Arm End a little while ago now. And my understanding is that one of the last few paperwork hurdles is getting final sign-off to be able to use that water from the pipeline on the site and use it in general. Because the pipeline is not just for the new golf course at Arm End. You see, this is part of the thing about building this golf course and doing the pipeline. The pipeline will also be available for farming properties on South Arm and the Iron Pot Golf Course, which is located at the southern end of South Arm. So there's a significant improvement to this entire region from the development of this Arm End Golf Course that's going to allow water availability, recycled water, Class A recycled water, I might add, to this region for farming and for another golf course that's already existing down there, the Iron Pot Golf Course. So a lot of these projects that you hear being done when golf courses are being built, they often come with a lot of other things that allow the region to be elevated in different forms. Sometimes that's by way of electricity. Sometimes that's by way of water supply. Sometimes that's by way of sewer. Sometimes it's by way of roads. It's often lots of different infrastructure that comes with a project like this. And, people will disagree, but I won't. I think these are positives that come out of all this. So it's great stuff that's happening down at South Arm with the Arm End project, but it is taking a long time. The new Arm End Golf Course that's said to be built is located at the northern end of South Arm. That's coupled with the Iron Pot Golf Course, as I mentioned, which is located at the southern end of South Arm. Now, these two golf courses, and this is relating to the pipeline water supply, they're about 6.5 kilometres apart by road, and from the front gate at Arm End, from the top of the golf course to the bottom of the golf course that's planned, the golf course itself at Arm End stretches over 2 kilometres from north to south. It's a very long north-south running golf course. Fingers crossed, the next update that I will have for you will be a specific date for when construction can begin, but I wanted to put Arm End out there again because, like I said, I've heard that they've been ticking through slowly some of the remaining paperwork things that they've got to deal with the government body. So it's great to hear even these little bits of news. Fingers crossed. We've got some more significant stuff coming soon. So I hope to keep you updated in it, ladies and gentlemen. But Arm End, still ticking away. We're getting closer. Now that's it for Australia, ladies and gentlemen, but we're going to jump across to New Zealand because I've got one I want to share with you. And that is an update from Hogan Gully that's being designed by Gil Hance and Greg Turner working together. And I've seen some images from Hogan Gully itself, and I've got to tell you, it's looking very, very impressive. Some details about Hogan Gully, which I haven't talked about in the past. Hogan Gully Golf Course is being built a stone's throw from Millbrook and Arrowtown, right? So it's in that area of Queenstown, Arrowtown, which is golf country, high quality golf. So I wanted to give you an idea of the specific site. It's being built on this area that's bordered to the north by Hogan's Gully Road, McDonnell Road to the east, and the State Highway number 6 to the south. It's a rather large area, and it will have some high-end property as part of the development by the looks of it, from what I can tell through my research online. The clubhouse, I've seen some footage of an animation of the clubhouse. Now, it's going to be central to the golf course, like more or less in the middle of the golf course property. And the overall project is promoted as having 62 residences and 42 short stay residences. The clubhouse design looks very interesting indeed. It's kind of like an ultra low profile modern type of design if you like. Look, I'm not too well versed on construction and architecture of buildings, but it looks like it's recessed into the land a little bit as it wraps around the 18th green in like a little mini amphitheatre type feel. I'll see how I go ripping some of the images off where I found this information, and if I can share them on socials as well. I'll have a look and see what images I can take off. But yeah, I was surprised when I I've been doing a little bit of research into it lately, so I wanted to share those little bits of details because I didn't know much about the project overall. This is the long-term project, clearly. The golf course has got to get going first, but ultimately with some of the residences around and the clubhouse and all that, like it's high-end stuff. This is going to be on the same level as all the other golf course resorts that are around that area. So you're talking high-end. Now, there's a few ridge lines of the property that run north-south, and it looks as though they are the landforms that will be utilised on the back 9 holes, particularly 12 through to 16 from what I can make out. Cross-referencing the design plan that I've seen with the landforms on Google Earth. I spent hours on this one, and it kind of looks like that's where some of these holes, a little bit like the fingers of Cape Kidnappers, if you like, but it's not on the coast edge and not 100 metres above the ocean. But that's kind of how the ridge lines look like they're going to be used for the golf holes. So your holes along the top of the ridge, and then it falls left and right either side, if that makes sense. So it's interesting. It's a highly anticipated golf project is Hogan Gully, and you've got Gil Hance on board, which is huge. You've got Greg Turner involved, which is huge. From a New Zealand perspective, he's done some incredible work, and both of them combined have done some amazing work in their own right. So it's going to be fantastic to see Hogan Gully come to fruition and come to life. And there's so much work that's being done on site at the moment. So give you an update on that one, ladies and gentlemen, over in NZ, and it's great to see that it's moving forward very well. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's a wrap-up of Walking the Fairways. So I wanted to give a great big thanks to Superintendent Jarrod Castle from Rich River at Moama on the Murray River on the New South Wales-Victorian border for coming on the podcast and giving us an update on what they're up to. Fantastic stuff to see and hear about at Rich River. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please have a look at the show notes. Lots of clickables in the show notes. I've done the homework for you. You can go straight to some of the things that have been talked about here and see what they're all about. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast, so you know when the latest episodes are coming out. I've recently done a whole heap of different episodes as well. We've had some Aussie golf history happening. We've got Keeper of the Greens, Walking the Fairways, of course, so you can stay up to date with who's improving on where you might be playing golf next. I'll always keep you up to date with that stuff. And so there's lots of things happening on the podcast and lots to come in the future. And the clickables are in the show notes. Please subscribe. Please share it around to people who you think might be interested in this. Now, I've got to mention Dint Golf Solutions, fantastic partners of Walking the Fairway segment. Go and check out their website at dint.com.au for all the tines and any other products you need to keep your golf course moving, dint.com.au. Now, I've also got to share an update with you, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned to Walking the Fairways because we're going to mix things up. We're upping the game as of next month in September for the new segment, Walking the Fairways. It's going to come out in a few weeks' time. And this one's for the superintendents and the golf clubs out there listening. I've got something that I've been working with Dint Golf Solutions on beginning next month, and it's something very special for you. Beginning in September, I promise you that you want to tune in. Adam and I will have something for you. It's going to be exclusive only to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast, and you're only going to hear about the details right here on the podcast. So make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you tune in to the next Walking the Fairways because we're upping the game. Look forward to sharing more info with you in a few weeks' time. Don't forget about, if you haven't listened to, the Royal Melbourne behind the scenes of the Men's Australian Open that Dint Golf Solutions partnered with me on. A fantastic 2-part podcast series that is out. It's been out now for a couple of months. I'll have it linked in the show notes, and I can share with you as well that it won't be long, and we've got the video work that we've been working on. My goodness, it's been huge. The amount of video stuff that we recorded from down there and whittling it down, getting it right so we can share that with you, which will be on YouTube as well. So that's coming out not too far away. But the podcast episode, 2-part podcast series, Royal Melbourne behind the scenes of the Men's Australian Open, is clickable in the show notes. If you haven't listened to it already, it is one of the best ones that I've ever done. Full stop. I am so proud to have done this one. I love it. I think what we did was incredible and something that no one's ever done in Australia before. So it's there in the show notes if you want to go and listen to it if you haven't before. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with it. You hit them clean, we'll keep them green, and I'll catch up with you very soon.